Hello Smallville fans. Now last week was a very exciting week for all of us because it was, I think, the 14th anniversary of the pilot episode of Smallville. So a very special time indeed. Now I discovered something extremely exciting on Twitter. I discovered that co-creator Alfred Goff is actually on Twitter. At the real Alfred Goff, if anyone wants to follow him. It's a great honour for me because Alfred Goff and Miles Miller are my inspiration for writing on an amateur level. Of course, I can never do it as a career as such, really, because I have dyslexia and I have problems punctuating and things like that. But I'm always hoping that someone might pick up on one of my story ideas or anything, but not really happening. But off key, off subject. So, such an honour for me to be able to go at the real Alfred Goff. I think you were this, you did this for me, you did that for me. I loved this about Smallville, I loved that. Just brilliant for me, for him to be there. It's really exciting. And if he does manage to watch this video, thank you for all the favoriting all my tweets to you and all of that. Of course, I don't expect any replies or anything silly like that. But yeah, really exciting that Alfred Goff, the real Alfred Goff, on Twitter. Check him out. It's, as I say, a great honour because what Al and Miles did for me with Smallville was something special. I've started rewatching the show again because of the anniversary. For me, Smallville's never left my heart. Something extremely special for me because I'm going to bore you now and tell you how I fell in love with Smallville. Now, one day I was out here in Cyprus reading a paper and it said, Warner Brothers and DC Comics are developing a Superman series based on Superman when he's a young boy. And I'm thinking, oh no, not another Superboy. So I'm chucking the toys out the pram thinking, I just want an awesome Superman movie. Isn't it bad enough they cast Nicolas Cage as Superman? Not fair, not right. Although I love Nicolas Cage and I love the fact he's a big Superman fan. So anyway, I never heard anything about Smallville again. One Sunday morning when I was back in the UK, I'm laying in my bed being extremely lazy on a Sunday morning, flicking through all the channels. Now, one of our best channels over in the UK is Channel 4. So I hit Channel 4 at the bottom. It says Smallville. And I'm thinking, surely this has got to be the Smallville that Clark Kent grew up in. Surely. Anyway, all of a sudden I see this bald guy. Please make it Lex Luthor. Please make that be Lex Luthor. Yes, it's Lex Luthor. I was so buzzed up. I was so excited. And of course, this wasn't the pilot. I actually never saw the pilot till afterwards. So it must have been the 4th or 5th episode, I can't remember. So there's Lex Luthor, there's Clark Kent. And this guy playing Clark Kent, of course, as we now know, is Tom Welling. He looked kind of exactly the same way as the guy did in Superman the movie, who was playing young Clark Kent. It was extremely exciting. We had Lana Lang. And then all of a sudden, Annette O'Toole is playing Martha Kent, and I'm thinking, oh my word, this is genius. I loved her as Lana Lang in Superman 3. I thought she was probably the only good thing apart from Christopher Reeve in the whole movie. And it was so exciting. But then we had this towering inferno of a man, John Schneider, playing Jonathan Kent. And his performance, of course, from beginning to end was wonderful. And what I loved, of course, about John Schneider, he was always proud to play that figure, very proud. And so it was all awesome. And then, of course, one of my biggest crushes, back then I was a 28-year-old man. I shouldn't really confess to having a crush on someone who's playing a teenage character, Chloe. Alison Macker's Chloe, wasn't she wonderful? Really was. It was all just brilliant. So I was in love with Smallville from the beginning. And of course, watched the rest of the season. Some wonderful moments, a lot of wonderful moments. Roger Nixon, what a wonderful villain he was. Just so many things. Brilliant. And then I went back and watched the pilot, and it was magical. The pilot was magical, and it spoke to me in such a level I can't really explain on this video because the way it introduced everything was very clever. The genius of the meteor shower, the genius of having Kryptonite actually a character on Smallville. You get all these people moaning, oh, the meteor freaks were so rubbish, but they weren't rubbish, they were genius. The meteor freaks gave Clark something to fight. So really, apart from this being a pre-Superman show and being about a young Clark Kent, he actually was doing what Superman was destined to do, which was to fight these meteor freaks, fight kind of the menace that's a threat to humanity, and be a hero. But then to have the character-driven journey to show us the emotional aspect of how Clark Kent will slowly learn these lessons, these human stories, these little moral stories every week that taught Clark how to become Superman. And it was brilliant. And then you had the other story of Lex Luthor slowly becoming this villain. And of course he starts off being kind of a nice guy. And of course one of the brilliant things that Alan Miles did with Smallville was the twisted father-son relationship with Lionel and Lex. Now how they got John Glover, a wonderful theatrical actor like John Glover, to play Lionel Luthor. Now we know he wasn't an A-list actor or anything, but the man's talent was immense, and he was just so stellar as Lionel from beginning to end, really like John Schneider. It was just wonderful, and the strengths of Smallville really was all the different character dynamics. Clark and Lex, Lex and Lionel, Clark and Lionel, Lionel and Martha, Lionel and Jonathan. What a twisted relationship that was as well, just wonderful. And then you start to think to yourself, well, what was my favourite episode? I haven't got a favourite episode. There was just too many. I mean, there's not many shows you can say that about. Just so many glorious things. The introduction of Green Arrow, genius. And it really worked for me. I loved Justin Hartley. A lot of people just said, oh, he's just a good-looking guy. He was more than a good-looking guy. And he came across as a great lad in real life as well. There's just so many things. I remember I used to edit together these Smallville videos and try and put together the best bits. I remember doing it once and create a 2-hour video. It was insane because there was just too many best bits. They were all best bits. But let's just be honest here. Alan Miles get a lot of flack, but their 7 seasons on the show were the best moments of the show. And when they were actually writing a lot of the show as well, from seasons 1 to 3, that was Smallville at its peak. Absolutely. I still enjoyed season 4. I thought the stones, the search for the stones was genius, and those stones ending up creating the fortress was genius because Clark's got to go through all this serious stuff to get these stones, and then it creates the fortress, something that becomes very important to Superman. And in Superman Lost, so I thought this was the way they thought things out. I thought was just genius and just totally enjoyable. And that's the reason I started writing on an amateur level. That's the reason after Smallville finished that I came up with my unofficial Smallville reboot, Smallville Metropolis. Anyone who hasn't seen a video that explains my concept for Smallville Metropolis, you should really do so. I personally think it's a brilliant idea. I think that Smallville has, I know, you Smallville fans, there's millions of you around the world, and Warner Brothers and DC are missing out on so much money on not rebooting it and bringing it back, even as a limited series. Even if they did the season 11 thing, that would be awesome as well. And everyone's saying, oh yeah, well DC are kind of moved on. They're doing like Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, which is awesome. Which, by the way, wouldn't have existed without Smallville. But the point is, a Smallville reboot or a Smallville limited series, let's say Smallville season 11, doesn't have to interfere with anything they're doing. Smallville can be its own entity. It's absolutely a nonsense that it's not on the TV anymore. Even, we know all the stuff about Tom not wanting to be involved, blah, blah, blah. We can't do Metropolis, that's fine. We reboot it, we start again. If you can give Heroes a limited series, if you can give Prison Break, for crying out loud, a limited series that's been done to death, great show that's been done to death, surely we can bring Smallville back. Thank you for watching. Keep liking the page, and if you are watching Al, give Miles and whoever else from the show that you still see a big high five. Brilliant. Thank you for Smallville. Thank you.